In today's video, we are going to be discussing muscle testing and how you can leverage it in your life. Now, our bodies are actually running off our subconscious mind. And so what that means for us is that we can actually test our muscles to see if our conscious thoughts are in alignment with our subconscious thoughts. If you're here on this channel, I'm sure you know that your external reality is a mere reflection of your internal reality. So it's really important to know which signal you're actually firing off to the universe. And I'm also sure that there's a time in your life where you had to make a very important decision and were stuck because of an energy blockage of whatever sort, and it was just hard for you to tap into your intuition in that moment. So by the end of this video, you'll be clear on why muscle testing is such a leverage tool to use in your life, how to use it, and then errors to avoid so that you get the best results out of this. If you're excited for this video, make sure you give me a big fat thumbs up and let's get to it. Alright guys, so this video is actually going to be fairly short because muscle testing only takes a few minutes. We're going to go over a few different techniques as to how you can do muscle testing, and then most importantly, why we can do it and mistakes to avoid, right? Because if you're doing muscle testing on a question, that makes a really big difference in your life on whether you take action on it or not. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is it. I know it because it came from my subconscious, it came from my inner self, but really you like messed up the process. Like, that would not be too good, right? So we're gonna go over how to avoid any mistakes in the mixture of this so that you do not mess this up and you get the best results. So diving into the very first thing, as addressed in the beginning, our bodies are running off of our subconscious mind, right? Because if it was truly like 100% running off our conscious mind, we'd be able to look at our finger and be like, my finger's pink, and it would turn pink, right? That'd be crazy. If our bodies ran off our conscious mind dominantly, we would be morphing and shaping all the time. So no, our body is running off of more an automatic function, more of our primitive mind. So that's why we can test our muscles in the first place to see if our conscious mind is really resonating at what's really coming from internally, right? Our subconscious. So that is the first thing. Now we're going to go over 3 techniques, and it's going to be awesome if you guys sit here and do it with me, because like I said, it only takes a few seconds. Now when testing your muscles, when doing the muscle testing, you really want to only ask yes or no questions. Anything more than that, it just gets a little complex. There's more factors that get thrown in. So keep it simple and just do yes or no questions, right? So the very first one is going to be called the sway test. I learned about this test originally in the book called The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. Highly recommend you guys get that book because it talks a lot about neurolinguistic programming and just obviously successful habits and stuff. But he talks about the sway test. So in the sway test, it's merely turning to your side. Well, you don't have to turn to your side. I'm turning to my side so you guys can see the video. You would just look at yourself, or you would sense yourself, right? You're like getting flat and straight. And then you ask yourself, hey body, like what is yes? And then you ask your body like, hey, what is no? And then you wait for the body to go in either form. So you'll watch me. You'll be like, I'll ask it for myself. You don't have to say it out loud in case you're like with people and want to do it kind of discreet, you know what I'm saying? So now I'm actually going to show you guys with me saying it out loud, so that way you can see it actually like doing it myself. So body, show me yes. Okay. So as you see here, like it wasn't really, I had to kind of like lay still and then just let my body do its thing, right? And note taken, yes will not always be forward. No will not always be backward. You want to ask yourself, body, show me yes or no between every session, because every time it changes, or it might, but there's a chance, a possibility of it changing for you. So don't just be like, okay, I asked my body what is yes, and it went forward that one time, so now every time I ask my body a question, I'm going to go forward thinking it's yes. No, you're going to mess that up, right? So ask your body, like, what is yes? And then you want to test it as well. So my name's Elizabeth, right? That's my full name. So say, body, my name's Elizabeth. I go forward. And then my name is Billy Joe. I almost fell off. So, okay, so that's the first one. The second one, you will, I don't know what they call this, but we can call it like okay, the double okay or something, right? Or double third eye, whatever you want to call it. So you take you do 2 okay signs, 2, third eye signs, whatever you want to do. And then you put them together like this, and then you ask your body, like, show me yes, show me no, and then you ask the question. So, should I go on this date? should I eat this food? You know, you want to ask yourself yes or no questions. Is it the right decision to go inside this building? You want to ask yourself yes or no questions every single time. So those are just a few examples, but the fundamental remains the same. You ask yourself, you use the position, you say, body, show me yes, body, show me no, and then you test it. My name is Elizabeth, my name is Billy Joe. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to, obviously you wouldn't use Elizabeth and Billy Joe because you get false results, you know, because those aren't your names, unless they are. But there you go. So then the third one is going to be pushing your hands together, right? So if you go like this, it's the same thing. You would say, body, show me yes, body, show me no, test it. My name is blank. And then you'll ask yourself a yes or no question. So this plant is green. That'd be a good way to test it, you know, or if you're testing like your programming to see how far in alignment you are, you could say just a statement, right? Too as well. You could say, even though it's best to ask yes or no every single time, if you're wanting to affirm your identity more or like see if you're really doing that programming work effectively, you could be like, I believe this. Or like, this always comes true for me. If you get weak in your muscles, that's a good way to say. If it's hard to form into a yes or no question, right? So always try to go first for a yes or no question. But if you're having a trouble identifying how to put this into a yes or no question to get the answer that you need, then just kind of say I statements, identity statements, because that's who you are at the core, right? And then test your muscles that way. But remember, yes or no questions are going to be the best. Now, mistakes to avoid is very simple, right? So the only way that you can mess this up is fundamentally your conscious gets in the way of your subconscious, right? There's all these different factors as to why this can happen. So if you watch all these videos, they'll tell you a bunch of different things. But fundamentally, we like to break things down to fundamentals on this video because it makes it simple and it's the foundation of things. Your conscious got in the way of your subconscious, right? How can you test your body if you are influencing your mind to also be like, okay, make a conscious decision to push forward as well, right? So we have to first get out of the way and let our body do the sway thing. So that's why when I first did it, you guys didn't see me just plunge forward right away, because that would be my body taking orders like, hey, plunge forward. This is something that I'm getting out of the way of my conscious mind. I'm just letting my body do its thing naturally. So then when I say something, it just goes. It might take a second. So we want to get out of the way of our subconscious by either just quieting our mind, slowing our brainwave patterns down into more of a theta alpha brainwave state. You can do that in many ways, but the simplest way is to literally look up and close your eyes. Reason being is this closes out not your consciousness, like you're not going to not be coherent or anything like that, but like you're not going to be operating so much from like the critical standpoint of your mind. It just has to do with the way your programming is and the way your brainwaves react in relation to your eye roll movement. That's a whole nother rabbit hole we can go down, but just know that when you look up, it helps shut down the critical mind so that you can more effectively tap into your subconscious mind. So if you feel a little biased, like you're kind of skewing these results because you want a yes answer in a category and like you're kind of just double checking, but you'd be kind of mad if you got a yes or a no depending on the circumstance, right? Then definitely roll your eyes up, close them, let them go back, and then do it, right? Because that's going to help you get out of the way of your conscious mind, which could be skewing the results, right? So if you want to know more about how to reprogram yourself, how to test yourself, and simply just mainly create a fulfilling life for yourself, I highly recommend you get my newest book, Reinvent Yourself, where I talk about how to use real science, neuroscience, and quantum physics in order to reprogram your subconscious mind to match you to the vibrational frequency of the reality you want. I know that seems like a mouthful, but if you're here on this channel, I know you resonate with that message. So this is going to be in the description down below for you guys. And if you are a BLiver, you can actually get a special discount if you just enter in the code BLive. So let me know also in the comments too, like what things did you test this on? What difference did this make? And if you thought it was weird when your body initially gave it that sway, when you initially almost involuntarily pulled apart when you thought you could hold it together, and etc., right? It's almost kind of mind-blowing how we can test our muscles in this way. I'm also going to give you 2 videos right here that I think would be awesome in relation to this video for you guys to watch. And as always, gang, dream big, live large, and be live. Bye.